Boom, I love it. All right. Well, hey, Jesse, you recording? We ready to rock?
Yep, set to go.
All right. Well, hey, welcome everybody to Friday Fire Up. If you did see my email yesterday, one, I apologize. You saw 1,800 emails yesterday with all of those reply alls. We will definitely make sure we don't do it that way again. But as far as sales, this week has been a great one. In fact, if once the dust settles, if everything processes that's been submitted this week, this will be our best week yet. So very cool to see, because I say that, I think, just about every week. So it's cool to see all of the momentum that's being built. Appreciate you all being on the call right now. We do have a few updates. So that email that you saw yesterday with the 18,000 reply alls did revolve around Corebridge. So Jesse, I'm going to turn it to you to provide some clarity there, my friend.
Yeah. We'll make sure we BCC the team, so when people reply, it won't go to you. So everyone should have in their email a invite from Joelia Ruiz at yourinsurancegroup.net. But if you've already done Transamerica or Great Western before, if you have that same link to the Sure LC portal, you've already registered for that. So you just go in there, and if you don't see Corebridge, you can actually request appointment, and AIG Corebridge is the very first one on the list. And so we want you to get on and get that one. Not only do they have an amazing bonus program right now for up to $8,000 for the quarter, there is the GI, the guaranteed issue product that's available on Corebridge. So that's the one that we want people to get, just for those random times where people get denied on everything else and need a guaranteed issue product. But Corebridge in general just is very comparable on commissions and pricing, it seems like, than with Transamerica. So if you're going after that bonus, you can pivot right to that AIG. So it's a great product, very well known.
Awesome.
There you go.
So speaking of Corebridge, in order to get appointed with Corebridge, you do have to have E&O insurance. And Dave, I know you had an update on Aflac's E&O.
I do. I know the comment was made that there is some reduced coverage for these type of products. Paul, I'm going to take the screen over for just a brief second here. Guys, just want to give you an update for your Aflac. If you're buying your E&O through NAPA, through Aflac, number one, it's a smoking deal. It is a very good deal. The difference that happens, here's a couple of things that you have to have. You have to be appointed with Aflac. Your tier 1 contract, if you are not a regular Aflac agent, your tier 1 contract absolutely still counts. So you're fine with that. You just have to be active with Aflac. It means you have to have your Aflac appointment, your tier 1 appointment at that time. But here's the difference that for non-Aflac products is right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. On Aflac related products, there's no deductible. On all non-Aflac claims, there's a $500 deductible. That's the only differentiator between Aflac and non-Aflac products. No deductible on Aflac, $500 deductible on non-Aflac products. So that's it. So your E&O, awesome. Your E&O through Aflac, which you should probably have anyway, your E&O for Aflac does count for this, allows you to get your Corebridge and all the other carriers. I know we've had a number of folks asking about Mutual of Omaha recently. So we do have other carriers that if somebody has an affiliation or they like one more than another, let us know. We're happy to get those arranged for you too. But your E&O through NAPA, through Aflac, absolutely counts.
Cool.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yesterday I was trying to go in and do a look at the Aflac Direct and do a quote, and it said that I wasn't recognized. And I'm wondering, I have not put in the money laundering. I can't remember where and when I did the money laundering course last, and I need to go and find that, but I didn't know why it said it didn't recognize me.
For the anti-money laundering course?
No, for just to go and do a quote with Aflac Direct.
Yeah, you do have a writing number for tier 1 products. So I don't know if you were logged in maybe or not logged in, but yeah, you have your writing numbers active. So
Right, but when I got to the first page of to do a quote or to do an application, and then it popped up with "you are not recognized" when I tried to move into the actual application.
We may have to schedule some time with you, Gloria, to see what's going on there.
Because we've asked that all of you, anybody who's appointed with us, also get appointed to sell the Aflac core product, and that's through distribute.aflac.com is where you would do that.
I mean, I've gone in there before and played with it.
Yeah.
So
Has it happened since?
We'll check on that. We'll check on that because you should be able to just go in when you go into that site. You log in. You log in right here. And that should allow you in. But if you're not, then we would let us know and we'll work with the Aflac team to make sure you do, because you guys should all be appointed with that. You are appointed with Aflac for our core side as well. So we'll confirm that. But Gloria, we may have to take that one off. I know Aflac on the core side has been doing updates, so they had a special single sign-on for just us, for our team. We were the only ones in the country. And then they made an update for everybody else, which means they had to kind of go back and redo. So Jesse and I have been on with the Aflac team, making sure it works. And on Friday last week, it was working. When was that, Gloria, that you tried that?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday.
So we'll take that one offline and we'll figure out what's going on. We'll have them go look you up specifically, and we'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Very cool. Hey, on that note, Dave, I know you've got some updates on Project Terminator, or at least want to announce it to some folks that maybe don't know what it is.
Yeah. So guys, with our program with Ethos, we've started playing around with dealing with terminated employees. So the number of employees, the turnover ratio in the United States, Paul pulled up the numbers from the Department of Labor a month or so ago. It's about 41% nationally.
I'll show it here in just a little bit too, again, as a refresher.
I mean, in some industries like hospitality, it's sitting just under 80%. The most stable turnover or type of business is government, and it's still at 18% turnover. And so typically those employees walk away. Your ability to sell a life insurance policy. Thank you, Paul. Your ability to sell a life insurance policy also allows you to get banking information, which helps you get them on Aflac always. Keep your Aflac renewals intact and secured. But we do have our program with Ethos where and we built a campaign out to be able to take those terminated employees and send them a brief message saying, hey, don't let your life insurance disappear. Don't let your life insurance disappear. You can sign up online. And so, if you want to take any of your terminated employees and put them into that program, this kind of gives you an idea of a book of business of 1,200 lives. 1,200 lives total. So picture your whole book of business, Aflac agents. If there's 1,200 lives and they average a 41% turnover, regardless of this mix, whether it's 35% turnover, 6% retiree, but just know the average is 41. It doesn't matter here. That means 492 lives of your book of business are going to walk away tomorrow, or the next day, or this year, essentially. And if we get just a 6% participation, that'll be an extra 30 apps. And keep in mind, the Ethos program could be a final expense, a term life, or a whole life. So premium average is less than a final expense app. But what that looks like is agent revenue for doing nothing more than putting the information into that campaign is about $7,000 for nothing more than gathering the employee's name, where they worked, and their phone number. Name, where they worked, and phone number. That's it. And we'll run the campaign for you. It's very simple and easy. Now, where we've had massive success, I was in Denver this week talking to a national firm about doing this. And this is where you could do too. So if you are working with a local broker, if a broker is big enough to open a business and open their agency somewhere, and they're servicing, smaller clients or whatever the case may be, or you've got a broker relationship, well, they've probably got a pretty significant book of business, 40, 50, 60 groups, probably all averaging over 50 lives. Well, it's kind of give you an idea. If they had just 50,000 lives total eligibles, and they're sitting at the same kind of turnover for you. Well, if you introduce us to that broker and we run this program for them, we give you a 10% override on all that business. So if you do have brokers, and we do have a couple of folks out there that are working with small brokers. In fact, we've got a couple of teams in Oregon that are all over this, and they've already introduced us to brokers. I can tell you unequivocally, we have presented this now to almost a dozen brokers. We have had 100% of the brokers say yes. The reason why is these are employees that are leaving their book of business that they do nothing with and they get paid nothing on. It's just revenue walking out the door. So this is a simple program to do. The information, name, business that they worked at, and phone number is not protected information by HIPAA. And so there is no conflict. They've already left their employment, and the brokers are just letting them walk out the door. We're going to try to help capture some of that revenue. So just wanted to give you a reminder, if you do have a broker in mind that you work with, or you've got your own book of business, so you're like, hey, I'm happy, I want to give you the terminated employees every week, every month, whatever, we'll run them through that program for you guys. So really cool opportunity. That's kind of making a splash. Again, it's sort of a side gig, but using the technology that we've invested in, it's an easy way to go and grab some cash.
Love it. When do we ever bat 1,000? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
awesome.
been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. Doesn't matter small or big. They've both said, heck yeah, because they're making no money on those employees that have left.
It's been pretty exciting. Okay, any questions before we move on? And moving on. Okay, so one quick update here on some contests going on. Of course, the AFLAC Q2 contest is still at play. So you can read that below. 3 policies is $200 bonus, 6 is $500, and 10 is $1,000. Core Bridge, once we can get through, so make sure that you are pushing to get your appointment finished with Core Bridge, because theirs is quite lucrative. As you can see, 5 policies is 500. You can see that whole tier, so it's cumulative. So if you get to 20 policies by the close of the quarter, it's $8,000 in bonus. Which that may seem like a big number until we get into what our message is for the day. And also, we just passed the midway mark of our Alaskan Cruise Convention, so you still have a decent amount of time to get after it. So here's one thing that I started looking at is we're averaging about a 25% close rate with quotes. And so if you look at that, what you would have to be doing from now until the end of June in order to qualify for this thing, you would have to quote 10 people a week. And I'm sure if you are working worksite, you were probably getting in front of 10 people a week anyway. That's not too shabby. So certainly can be done still. Also, one other contest going, this one looks kind of cool, is Transamerica's Convention. This is the entire year, by the way. This one is in overall premium. So $100K in premium gets you on their convention to Deer Valley in Park City, Utah. So on that note, I want to jump into something that's very cool, a very cool strategy that one of our peers is using. And well, he at least sparked it, and then we were able to take it and run with it, which Dave already alluded to this, state of the marketplace. I just got off a presentation with a team in Missouri, and we were talking about this. There were 15 people in the room. I asked them, are you seeing turnover in your books of business? They all raised their hand, of course, right? Because that's the state of the country that we're in right now. Average American changing jobs every 3 years. You can see that turnover rate last year, 41% was the average. I'm not going to rehash all of that. So what's happening, though, is it's forcing employers to get really creative, right? We all know this. They're having to find ways to attract people, to be able to hire people, and also keep their good people on board. You know, the average cost to replace an employee is about 1/3 of that employee's salary, right? So if they lose somebody that makes 100K a year, it's going to cost them 30 grand, 33 grand in order to replace that person. So they're really looking for creative ways. Here's one thing that we know from the AFLAC Workforces Report is in this day and age, employees expect It's not a want, it's not a hope. They expect the employer to pay for benefits, right? So that's one thing that they should be doing. What they don't expect, however, are bonuses. And so we do have one of our teammates. He was talking to a decision maker. He asked him if he'd be interested in providing life insurance to his employees. He said yes. We were able to jump in and dive through some of the resources, and we came across the executive bonus arrangement, which I've known about this for quite a while, that a business owner can select employees to pay them, and they can go and get a life policy, right, as a bonus. So here's what we found, though, that I did not know. Well, here's some advantages. First and foremost, to the business owner. So they can pick and choose who they want to provide this bonus to. It's 100% tax deductible under the IRC 162. And because it's already laid out, the IRS does not need to pre-authorize it. And this to me is interesting as well. They don't have to disclose it or any annual reporting. And the reason why is because it shows up just as a bonus, right? The dollar amount. So what happens is the business owner says, hey, I will pay you X amount of dollars in bonus for you to turn around and use those funds to buy a life policy. So because it's direct, so that's one of the key components here, is in order for it to satisfy this arrangement, the policy has to have two key components. One, it has to be a direct policy, because that's how the bonus works. It has to be a direct policy. It can't be a qualified plan, and it can't be an employer group policy, right? So it has to be direct, and it has to be a permanent life policy, meaning it has to be whole life, right? We happen to be pushing simplified issue whole life that's direct, right? Which satisfies
Paul, is final
both of those
expense
things.
permanent life?
It 100%, right? Simplified issue whole life is the actual name of final expense, right? So it satisfies both of those. We were on with the Transamerica team to confirm this information, and they said absolutely yes. So it's much sexier for a business owner to be able to say, hey, you know what, Dave, I appreciate what you're doing. You know, I want to reward you, but I don't want to just give you a bonus that, you know, it's a one-time thing. I want to give you a bonus that you can turn around and add benefits to what you have. So pick up some life insurance, but look at the benefits to the employee. One, the employee owns it, right? It's a direct policy, so obviously they own it. So if they leave, they continue on with it. The bottom two, I believe, well, really the third bullet there, I believe, is the most important for employees in terms of value, is because they're permanent policies, they accrue cash value. Of course, final expense doesn't accrue the most, but it accrues it nonetheless. And the employee owns all of that cash value and all of the benefits that come along with that, right? And so for a business owner, it's pretty cool to be able to say that, right? Dave, I appreciate what you're doing. I want to give you a bonus, but one that will last a while, not just a one and done kind of thing. So I want to be able to provide whole life insurance for you. And what that means for you is you get to accrue cash value, and you get to do whatever you want with that cash value. And then obviously the employee chooses the beneficiary, but those are really cool options. I have on there double bonus can be arranged to cover the tax liability. So the owner, it's paid as a bonus. So there's not the FICA, FUTA, SUTA, all that fun kind of stuff on there. The employee, however, does pick that up. But in the arrangement, what can happen is the employer can also agree to add the double bonus, which is they add the dollars to that employee in bonus to be able to cover the additional tax liability, is what that means. So let me tell you the experience had this week using this as a strategy.
Quick pause.
Yeah.
If you guys want a definition, it's section 162. I did in the chat just now drop the what that looks like. So a discussion of exactly how that looks. Important to note that their regular payroll taxes apply to these dollars, not bonus tax. And bonuses are taxed at a higher rate, which is a big deal for the employer. Even bigger deal for the employee. Sorry, Paul, go ahead, buddy.
Nope, that's perfect. Thank you. So here's been a great strategy this week that's paid some pretty big dividends. Is again, one of our teammates sat down with a business owner, was talking about those issues. You know, do you have turnover issues? What are you doing to attract your employees? What are you doing to keep them around? Have you tried adding benefits? Yes, of course I have, right? If it's just an expectation, it's not that sexy, right? You don't feel like people are going above and beyond. And so he was able to say, hey, have you tried the executive bonus arrangement, which is this, and he laid this out, right? He jumped on it, said absolutely. It was a 15 live case, not the biggest thing in the world, but he decided, you know what? Again, business owners can pick and choose which employees they bonus. He happened to decide, hey, I want to bonus all of my employees. So 15 apps. He sold 15 apps, all employer paid. That's not a bad payday. I'll tell you, for one case. Hey, and by the way, he happened to sell all the Aflac traditional in it as well. So super cool strategy. It's not a huge pivot, honestly, from the way that we approach business owners anyway, if you're working worksite, but it is a huge uplift, and it's certainly going to help drive an awful lot of revenue to your business, but you're going to be bringing a ton of value if you're working worksite to those business owners and to those employees. So, man, this may be our most brief fire up yet, but that is what we wanted to share with you all today. We will open it up. Do you have any questions, concerns, any things that you guys want to bring up?
Crickets.
So, all right.
Hey, wait. I do have something. Did anybody ask anybody if they had life insurance and they get a butt response or not? Did they say just no? Did anybody ask anybody? Did any of you dare to ask? You can take your phones off mute. You did it. You asked Paul. Did you get a butt response?
I asked all of the producers in Missouri that I just met with. About half raised their hand. The other, I kind of answered for them. It was cheating. I said,
Michelle.
okay. I said, those of you that don't, how many of you know that you should? And they all raised their hand. So
Michelle raised her hand. Michelle, raise your hand. Michelle, take yourself off mute. Ask your question or answer for me.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go.
So I was with a business owner this week for Aflac, and I just asked her, and she's 64, husband 63, and I said, have you ever thought about life insurance? Do you guys have policies? And she's like, oh, well, we're doing as much as we can right now, and that's up to the kids if something happens. And I'm like, let me quote you. Let me please send you some information and quote you. So we're kind of in a holding pattern on that one, but yeah.
Nice job, Michelle.
Love it.
Michelle, you did the exact right thing, right? It's ask the question. I think it's super powerful. When you're in front of somebody having an insurance discussion, ask them the question. That's all it takes, guys. It's magic. It is magic. I'll tell you. So, and you solve a big problem. I know I keep banging the drum. I joined Aflac, 23 years ago, because I believed in what it did, what the product does. I still absolutely believe in what Aflac's products do. I 100% believe in what these products do too. And so you guys make a big impact, and I appreciate you guys, how hard you're working. I will tell you guys too, just a quick note. We've got some teams that are doing live data transfer leads right now. And we are seeing, somebody asked it earlier, I'm sure the question was answered about how to get leads. We are seeing a response, a much bigger response from that group, right? Because they strike when the iron's hot. So just know that availability to do that anywhere you're licensed is out there. So if we have any Utah folks on the line, I know we bought out all the old leads, but those new data transfer leads, especially while they're being subsidized, are a great deal. So anyway, guys, have an awesome Memorial Day. If we have anybody who served in the military, thank you very much. We appreciate your service.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing one. Let's set some more records next week. Yeah. All right. Take care.
Bye, guys.
God bless.